Hey guys, TheInevitableSaiyan here, doing my Every Card is a Story segment, episode number 14 or 15, I believe, one of the two. Before I get started on this episode, I just want to bring something to attention. I had one interesting comment on my last video. I'm not going to say who it was. It didn't make me mad or anything. It just got me thinking. They said that it really wasn't much of a story. The last episode I had on my Ghost German Black Rose Dragon. They said, like, yeah, this really isn't much of a story. I don't really know why it's in this segment. And I thought to myself, like, I kind of see where he's coming from, but at the same time, this is basically my answer to that question, guys. I can't use the best story every single episode for this episode. I don't want to just, use up every single one of my good stories and just, pile out a bunch of good episodes and then have absolutely nothing to do. That's how segments die out. Now, that's not to say that I'm just going to randomly pull out a random BS card and be like, oh, hey, this is a story. Not much of a story, but it's one of my lesser story cards this week. I'm not going to do that. Every card that I do for you guys does have a somewhat interesting story, in my opinion. However, some stories are better than others. I will give you that. But this one, I guess, is more interesting. I hope that you guys agree, because this regards to me watching the anime. Now, basically, the card for this week is Helios, the Primordial Sun. And this is interesting because this is really the last card that I distinctly remember significant to Yu-Gi-Oh! GX before I stopped watching the Yu-Gi-Oh! Animes in general. I don't just mean Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, I mean, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! In general. I didn't watch 5Ds or Zeal. I don't watch Zeal. I was a big fan of the anime from the original series. I did like the original. I liked the Battle City saga more than the original, like, Pegasus and anything that came after that. All the Shadow Realm stuff. I wasn't really extremely into it, but the Merrick and Battle City saga was my favorite, I guess, story arc of the original anime. But I did end up watching most of the original anime just because, it was the original one. Nobody really knew there was going to be any spin-offs for a while. Then when GX came on, GX, like, developed my favorite archetype, which my favorite archetype overall is Elemental Heroes, or Heroes, I guess, not necessarily Elemental Heroes, but, those were Jaden's cards, and while GX did spawn the Heroes, which are now my favorite types of cards overall, I really only watched I watched the entire first season of GX, like every single episode, and I thought it was good. And then the second season, I really just started to kind of I just lost a lot of interest in it a lot. I don't remember if this was the first or the second season, but I do remember when they went to Professor Banner, and you never really saw his cards before, and it just this big thing where, like, he was in the warehouse or the abandoned dorm or something like that. He was in there, and he was like evil almost, like his veins were showing and his hair was coming out, when he was really just usually a really a mellow, relaxed guy. He was all evil, and they didn't know what was going on, and they dueled him, and he used these cards. These were basically the last specific cards I remember of a certain archetype in the last episodes that I watched, because I do remember him using these cards: Helios, Duo Majestos, Helios Trice Majestos, Golden Homunculus. I have all of them, but this isn't really the main one, so this is why it's the card of the week. But after I saw that, I was like, okay, that's interesting. I've never seen those cards before, but I was like, I just don't really enjoy or follow the story anymore. I was like, why is he evil? Why is Zane turning evil? Who is this guy with the Destiny Hero Plasma? I was like, what is going on? And then Cyrus got what was it called? Upgraded to Raw Yellow, and all this stuff. I was just like, I don't want to watch this anymore. So I cut out, I think, about like not even halfway, like after a couple episodes of season 2. And then I didn't watch season 3, and apparently season 4 wasn't even in America, but I didn't watch that, obviously, because I don't watch subbed anime, so I wasn't going to go watch it online, especially since I didn't even finish the second season and didn't watch the third one at all. Then I took my big, 3-year break from Yu-Gi-Oh!, so I didn't watch anything of 5Ds. Looking back at it now, I still wouldn't go back and watch it, and currently I'm not watching Zeal. So the reason this is the card of the story is just because I wanted to get this because it kind of symbolized my end of watching the anime. I remember Professor Banner using these cards, and I was just like, I don't understand this anymore. Why is he evil? Why is all this stuff happening? So I wanted to get these cards to kind of just commemorate, like, okay, yeah, I'm completely done with the anime now. I'm not gonna give it any more chances. I have no interest in watching anymore. I'm honestly, there's really no reason for me to watch the anime because I don't. I may go back and rewatch the original. I don't think I would rewatch GX. I might go and rewatch the original anime sometime in the future, but no, I'm not going to watch anymore. But yeah, that is why this card is significant, just because it kind of marks the end of me continuing to watch the anime, and I do not hope to, I do not foresee me watching any of it in the future or catching up on the ones that I missed or anything like that. So that's the reason that this card is significant to me. Make sure you give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Comment your opinions below. Hope for or watch the next episode next week. Stay tuned for that because there's an episode every week. And give it a like, and thank you for watching, guys.